This trailer contains snakes and Steve Irwin.
He's spitting.
Deadly Spitting Cobras, Easter Monday at 6.
News of today's early kick-off at Old Trafford in On the Ball after the news.
Good afternoon. A British soldier has been killed and 2 others wounded on peacekeeping duties in Kosovo. Their vehicle was blown up by a landmine which left a crater a metre deep. Here's Annabelle Roberts.
The British peacekeepers were on patrol in a scimitar armoured personnel carrier about a kilometre from the Macedonian border with Kosovo. They were travelling down a well-used road when it went over an anti-tank mine close to the village of Krakanic at just after 8 o'clock local time last night. 1 soldier was killed in the explosion. 2 others were injured and are now being treated at a local US Army hospital. Their injuries are not life-threatening.
We don't know exactly how the mine got there, but it's in a known mined area, but the road was expected to be clear of mines and had been used many times in recent days.
The dead soldier was with the 9th 12th Lancers based in Germany. His family have been informed. Annabelle Roberts, ITN.
New landfill sites are being considered to cope with the massive number of animals slaughtered because of the foot and mouth outbreak. The Agriculture Minister Joyce Quinn says they will be very strictly controlled. Harry Smith has the details.
Mass burial sites like this one in Cumbria were designed to clear the huge backlog of dead animals. But despite the increasing involvement of the military, ministers have been forced to admit they're still struggling to cope. Now plans for around 100 new sites are being drawn up. In response to local protests, ministers were quick to point out that only animals free from the disease will be buried there.
We already have agreement on a number of landfill sites, and obviously in working with local authorities and others, we have to be very clear that we're complying with environmental and health considerations. When that is realised, then people understand that obviously it's necessary to dispose of animals and not leave them lying around on the surface of the land.
Farmers' leaders say the need to speed up the process is becoming ever more urgent.
The sheer logistics of moving for either burial or for burning or for rendering those many thousands of animals is presenting a rather distasteful and unacceptable backlog on farms where animals are lying there now for several days, and as the temperature gets warmer, of course, that's particularly unpleasant.
William Hague, today seeing how the tourist industry in his constituency is coping, called again for more army reinforcements.
MAF are, I know they're working very hard, but they're totally overstretched and are not able to deal with something on this scale.
This is already the Army's biggest peacetime logistical operation. It may have to get bigger still. Harry Smith, ITN.
The Ministry of Agriculture is investigating a suspected case of swine fever, another highly infectious animal disease in Essex. It's at a pig fattening unit in Ardleigh near Colchester. The farm's now been sealed off. 36,000 pigs were slaughtered after a swine fever outbreak in the eastern counties last August, the first in this country for 14 years. 9 people have been killed and at least 50 injured in 2 explosions at an outdoor concert in the Bangladeshi capital, Dhaka. It's not known who planted the bombs. Here's Romilly Weeks.
Smoke rises through the park in Dhaka. Thousands of people had gathered to celebrate Bengali New Year when the bomb went off, sending panic through the crowd and leaving many with horrific injuries. 45 minutes later, a second bomb exploded. A third was found before it could be detonated. This cameraman witnessed the explosions. He says he saw several bodies. It's thought 7 people died instantly and others in hospital. A standoff over the date of the next election has led to a series of clashes in Bangladesh. Earlier this month, 12 people were killed in violence between rival political groups. Romilly Weeks, ITN.
The Education Secretary David Blunkett today dismissed calls for a maximum 35-hour week for teachers. He said it was unrealistic. But Mr. Blunkett, who met Marjorie Evans at the National Union of Teachers Conference, did promise to help teachers falsely accused of abuse by speeding up investigations. Mrs. Evans was embroiled in a lengthy dispute over whether she'd slapped a pupil. That's it for now. Nicholas Owen will be here at 5:25 with a full roundup of the day's news. Until then, goodbye.
electricity and telephone.
Good afternoon. Well, I've known worse Easters, but don't expect to break any records over the next few days as far as temperatures are concerned. Staying quite cool, but there is increasing chance of some decent bright spells with time. It's cool because everything's coming down from the north, including this cold front. Now ahead of it, rather cloudy, the odd spot of rain, but a lot of dry weather and some brightness if you're lucky. To the north of that front, a better chance of some sunshine for parts of Scotland. A scattering of showers, though, up in the far north. That'll be the story overnight. That front moving steadily southwards, staying rather grey and damp in the south, clearing up behind, clear a bit colder. A chilly wind tomorrow across many places, sunshine and showers for most. Here's a summary.
Powergen. Gas, electricity and telephone.
Good afternoon. The Easter holiday might be better than predicted for the South's tourist trade. Early indications suggest that visitors are still coming despite restrictions imposed because of foot and mouth disease.
With footpaths and cycleways closed across the New Forest, visitors are heading instead to villages like Burley. Trade is down, but businesses say it's better than they'd feared. This cycle hire shop has struggled recently, but is managing to tick over.
There's not so many people about, but we really are seeing a slow but steady upturn of people coming through our doors at the moment, but it can't really compared with Easter's gone by, no.
But better than you thought?
Oh yeah, better than we thought, and each day is just a few extra.
Visitors have come by car, coach and cycle, but has their weekend been spoilt?
Oh, not at all. I've just enjoyed every minute of it. Just great. It's a beautiful place here.
We're doing different things this year to what we did when we came down here last year, but we've still enjoyed ourselves. It's not been a problem at all.
I don't think we've had the weather really for it, have we? You know, so, you know, either way it don't make much difference to it.
Wagon rides through the forest by road have just started again. Bookings have been slow, but they're picking up.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel anyway, and it's not quite such doom and gloom as perhaps we had thought, but we still need to work really hard to get the message over that there's lots to come and see and do in the forest.
There's some hope here and across the south that the Easter weekend will be more successful than anyone had thought. All it needs now is some blue sky and some sunshine. Richard Jones at Burley in the New Forest for Meridian News.
A 19-year-old man who was stabbed in the stomach and arm in Brighton is now out of intensive care. Police say the victim, who hasn't been named, is in a stable condition at the Royal Sussex County Hospital. He was attacked on the 11th floor of a block of flats at St John's Mount in Mount Pleasant. Detectives are treating it as attempted murder. A remarkable young sailor has just completed the first stage of training for the BT Global Challenge. Abigail Shoebridge's deafness hasn't prevented her taking to the high seas aboard the sail training ship Tenacious. The Jubilee Sailing Trust, who specialise in training people with disabilities, were able to give her advice on working with an able-bodied crew.
Working together as a team, and I'll be teaching them deaf awareness skills, like finger spelling, basic signing for the items on the boat, equipment, all sorts of different things.
Abigail said the biggest problem she found was coping with the work in the rigging. And that's all the news from Meridian for now. Our next bulletin's at 5:10 this evening, so please join me then. Bye-bye.
Meridian weather, sponsored by Sea France, Dover-Calais ferries.
Cloudy with rain or drizzle at first this afternoon, but this will clear away, leaving many parts dry. Top temperatures around 12 Celsius in moderate winds. It'll be cloudy with more rain tonight, some quite heavy. Lowest temperatures dipping to 5 Celsius in moderate westerly to northwesterly winds.